What up? Happy Friday, everybody. It is the week 3 preview of the Fantasy RichardLucks 2025 League. And we got a good week in store, good weekend in store. So let's get right after it. I'm chilling here with the homie Soap. She's taking a little nap. Contrary to popular belief, she is not a whore. She just likes me better than you guys. Anyway, starting off, we got the Mush 1-1 versus Binkingham 1-1. The big stories from this game is that we have another bet. We have a shotgun bet, the same one that me and Foos did last week, and then Foos was able to get the surf side, which unfortunate for me, but good for Foo. He's probably doing that today or tomorrow. So good for that. But me and Binky are doing that. It's probably going to have to be postponed until I get back from Europe in about 2 weeks. So we'll see what happens there. But, yeah, Tyreek played last night. He was able to get a good touchdown, get 16 points, get the Mush off to a really solid start. Tua is fucking trash and, like, brain dead. Tyreek could have had 25, but he just missed Tyreek so many times that game. But we'll still take 16 from him. And the thing about my team is that my wide receivers are all playing with backups. Jay Jet's playing with Carson Wentz, and Garrett is playing with Tyrod Taylor. And even if I want to start Debo, he's playing with Marcus Mariota. So not a lot of good quarterback situations with my receivers, but we're going to roll with what we have to because we do have Herbert and Jonathan Taylor. They're going to guys who's going to have to lead the charge. We need Jay Jet to play to his round 1 potential. And if everything goes to plan, I think Carson Wentz could be better than J.J. McCarthy, at least for fantasy, for Justin Jefferson. So I do like having Wentz there. I just got another big game from JT. Herbie's got to sling that rock again. And then even DeAndre Swift, if he could fall into the end zone, that would be huge for the Mush. And when we're talking about Binkingham, he's in a little bit of RB trouble. You know, he's got Kenneth Walker, who's splitting with Zach Charbonnet, even though he beat the shit out of Charbonnet last week. In yards and per carry and touchdown and everything like that. I think Charbonnet had 15 carries for 10 yards. Stinko. But yeah, and then Chase Brown is playing without Joe Burrow. He hasn't had the best 2 weeks, so he kind of really needs those two guys to start getting going and be consistent, because if they put up around 10 or less than 10 points again, it's not looking good for Binky here. What's really going to set Binky apart is his wide receiver room, which is really good. He has Puka, who's the number 1 receiver right now. JSN, who I think is around the 10th spot, but he put up 18, 19 in back-to-back weeks. He's definitely the number 1 receiver in Seattle. Sam Darnold loves throwing his way. If they could both put up 20+, then that's definitely a really good start for Binkingham. He does have Dakota Prescott playing, I think the Bears. So that's a bad defense, a good matchup for Dakota. All in all, I really don't see his running backs being able to put up the consistency, and Puka's also playing the Eagles. It definitely could be a shootout or it could be a grudge match. There's a lot of question marks on both teams, but I'm going to back myself again. Sorry, Binky, you're shotgunning. Next matchup we have is Nickelodeon 0-2 versus PP 1-1. For Nickelodeon being 0-2, he's got to win this week. You don't want to go to 0-3. That's very bad biz. Genty and Nico have to get going. I mean, Nico had a really good touchdown last week, but that was just about it from his thing. CJ Stroud might be a fraud, which is not good. Their offensive line stinks. They don't have any other receivers to spread the field open. It's kind of reminding me of the Garrett Wilson situation where, like, he's obviously a talented receiver. The quarterback play is shaky. There's no other receivers to go to, so they're just going to try to lock down that number 1 guy. So it's kind of scary for Nico. He's got to start getting going. And Genty, I mean, the Raiders' offensive line is awful. It's so bad. But, I mean, he just needs Genty to fall in the end zone once or twice, get a goal line carry here or there, just to start building that momentum to that first, second-round pedigree that he was at. Also, Terry McLaurin and Njoku got to start getting going. There's a lot of good players on Nickelodeon, but not a lot of production. I mean, Terry McLaurin's playing with Mariota this week. Njoku has that other tight end that Binky has, I forgot to mention, the gadget guy, but Njoku's playing, he's not the clear tight end 1 anymore in Cleveland. So there's a lot of question marks on Nico. But also on PP's side, there's a lot of questions. Bye, kitty. You do have Bucky Irving and CeeDee Lamb probably going to be the bell cows this week. Those are obviously the two best players on PP's team. He does have Daniel Jones. He's been slinging the rock. I think he's top 5 in quarterback play right now, so definitely a good pickup from PP. If he could keep that momentum, I mean, they do have the weapons around him. They have JT. Michael Pittman is starting to show flashes again, and Josh Downs if needed. And then Tyler Warren, the big tight end. So a lot of weapons for Daniel Jones. Speaking of the more question marks, we do have Kyron Williams. His rushing efficiency hasn't been great this year. He's more of a touchdown-dependent guy, especially against the Eagles. I mean, we could see if he can get in the end zone. If he doesn't get in the end zone, I think it could be bleak for PP, especially with DJ Moore playing with Caleb Williams, not off to the hottest start, and then Tony Pollard playing on a shit Tennessee Titans team. I think there's a question marks on both teams. I think the bell cows on PP's team are better with Irving and Lamb, but I think it's more spread out and more potential for breakouts on Nickelodeon. So I'm going to take Nickelodeon with the upset here to get their first win of the season. The next matchup that we have is Burger 1-1 versus Hammer 1-1. They both went basically par for par last night. Achan got 16. Jalen Waddle got 15. Speaking of Burger's team, Neighbors, it's a little bit scary. He's playing the Chiefs. I mean, he's at home. It's also prime time. That's a lot when the stars like to break out. I mean, he's already broken out, but they like to, perform well in prime time. So, I mean, it could go either way. I do like Neighbors to have a big game. And then he's got the Unks on his team with Kamara, Hawkinson, and Keenan Allen. Basically just need to keep him up with the hot start. It's kind of surprising, honestly, how Kamara's been playing in this Saints offense. I mean, Spencer Rattler's not been literally the worst quarterback in the league. I mean, Justin Fields has been worse. So we basically just need, the Unks to lock in and Neighbors to do something, going into that primetime game, especially on Hammer's side. Still a lot more question marks. A.J. Brown, I don't know if he's ever going to do anything. Maybe this is his breakout week. Saquon Barkley and Devontae Adams are probably going to be the bell cows for this week for his team. James Conner is getting a lot of his touches stolen from Trey Benson. He's 30 years old. It's going to be really tough for James Conner to keep the momentum that he's been keeping the past couple of years throughout this whole year, but it's still early in the season. He should still be able to get a majority of the touches, at least for this week. And if A.J. Brown could do something against the Rams, I mean, the Rams have a really good defense. It just really depends. I think there's more question marks on his team. I think Burger's a little bit more spread out, and he does have more X factors. So with that being said, I do think Burger takes this one and improves to 2-1, and Hammer goes to 1-2. Moving on to the next matchup we have is Martine 0-2 versus the Tribe 2-0. This is a very intriguing matchup, especially if the Tribe goes to 3-0 and Martine goes 0-3. So Martine really needs a win here, just like Nickelodeon, the only two winless teams in the league right now. The Tribe did get 20 from James Cook. He might be the steal of the draft, honestly. He got him in, third, fourth round? Or was it? I don't remember. Definitely wasn't the second because he was the 12th pick. So I think he got him on the 3-4 wraparound. So, yeah, incredible value there for James Cook. He's the number 1 RB in the league, especially getting 20 for 3 straight weeks. Martine needs CMC have a big day. He's got to match James Cook's points if he wants any shot of winning this because there's a lot more question marks on Martine's team. He's got Drake London, who hasn't had the best start, T. Higgins playing with Jake Browning, and then Chris Olave playing on the Saints. That's just going to be a question mark every week because, I mean, Chris Olave's been putting up 10 to 13 points the first 2 weeks, but that's not bad, relatively speaking, but is it enough to win fantasy matchups? I don't think so. But the Tribe does have question marks as well. They have Jalen Hurts, hasn't been playing well, at least fantasy-wise. He's just been the tush-push merchant recently. BTJ has the yips. He's scared to catch the ball. I think Trevor Lawrence might be at fault for that, for sending him some hospital balls. But, yeah, he really's got to get going. And then if Devontae Smith gets going, that means Jalen Hurts gets going. So he really needs a big day out of Devontae Smith to get those stack points and BTJ to get out of his funk and start moving because Josh Jacobs, he was questionable. He's probably going to play, and Javonte Williams is playing the Bears. So he should keep up his hot streak. They both kind of need touchdowns, I think, from the Tribe to be able to make this a clear-cut win game for the Tribe. But I do kind of like Teens guys to do a little bit more of a breakout. I think Drake London and T. Higgins will be able to catch their stride and be the players that he was drafted them for. So I'm going to take a little bit of an upset here. I'm going to go Teen to get his first win of the season and make it so there's no winless teams through 3 weeks, which is pretty crazy for the league. Yeah, so Teen 1-2, Tribe 2-1. I still didn't calculate the other 2 videos. I'm going to do it next week, I swear. I want to see what the picks are. I guess it really doesn't matter. It's just my own dumb opinion, but I like to see, if I know ball or not. But next matchup we have is Mayo versus Durkin. This one is kind of the craziest matchup of the week because it's the Monday Night Showdown. Durkin is playing Jared Goff, Derrick Henry, Amon-Ra, and Zay Flowers. 4 basically heavy hitters playing on Monday night. And then Mayo also has Lamar and Gibbs. So there's 6 heavy hitters going on Monday night. So this matchup will definitely not be over on Sunday. I'll tell you that. It's definitely going to be, both of these guys are going to have to watch the game on Monday in Baltimore. Lions-Ravens is going to be an amazing game. Need a lot of fantasy points for both teams. Mayo's kicker and defense didn't really do him justice here. They got 11 points total. Matt Prater got a pretty good field goal at the end of the game. I think he had like 4 points total from the 2, like late in the 4th. So definitely good to get up to 11 from the 4 spot. And Jordan Mason's alone because Aaron Jones just got put on the IR. So if Jordan Mason can start getting that ground game going and become one of those RBs, then Mayo's going to have 3 really good RBs starting for him with Breece Hall, Jordan Mason, and Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, Breece Hall, he's a little bit of a question mark. He had a down week last week, but he looked so good in week 1. I think the Bills are just too good of a team for the Jets. And I think against the Buccaneers, even though their team is really good, especially the defense, Tyrod Taylor's more of a competent quarterback than Justin Fields. I think it will open up the ground game a lot more for Breece Hall in this game. And then Emeka Egbuka, definitely solid. He's playing up against Sauce. Or Sauce is maybe going to be on Mike Evans, so he's probably going to get Michael Carter in the slot. Or if he lines up outside, he's going to get Brandon Stevens, so then he'll have a day. And Chris Godwin comes back next week, so I guess that's more of a worry for Mayo next week. But for this week at least, Emeka Egbuka is going to play Brandon Stevens if he's on the outside. So definitely a lot of potential for points there because that motherfucker stinks. And then for Durkin, besides the Monday guys that he's got, those 4 guys, he's got Ramondre Stevenson starting. It looks like he's taken that job from Travion Henderson, at least for the time being. He looked better week 2. Travion Henderson's really not getting a lot of touches at this point. That could change later in the season, but right now it looks like Ramondre's the bell cow. And he kind of needs to get, a little bit of fall in the end zone, help him out. And Jacoby Myers with the Raiders. Geno Smith's got to start, I mean, he's getting like 14, 15, I think, a game. He's doing pretty solid for that Raiders offense. But Jacoby Myers and Ramondre Stevenson, if they both put up duds, he's relying a lot on that Monday night when Mayo has a lot better players playing besides that Monday night. So just for that, I will take Mayo 2-1, Durkin 1-2. And then for the last matchup of the week, we have Fu versus Pete. Allen put up 23 yesterday. Definitely a good play from Fu there. Obviously, he was going to play, but definitely good from Allen to get that 23 points. The big question mark for Fu, as we all know, is his running back room. Tyrone Tracy and Scatterbo are still sharing the backfield. He's starting Tracy this week by the looks of it again, so he kind of needs him to fall in the end zone. And then Amari and Hampton's got to put up at least 10 points. He's put up stinker and stinker. The Chargers are basically just a throw first team now. I think they've thrown the most in the league so far through the first 2 weeks, or they have the most air yard efficiency or something like that. So the Chargers, I mean, Justin Herbert's got the big ass John on him, and he's got to share some of his John with Hampton because he needs one of these guys to pop off. He can't be putting up 10 or less points with both of these guys because, as I said before, Mike Evans is on Sauce. Definitely a hard matchup for Mike Evans. He's not really good against, the top-tier cornerbacks, in my experience. And then Jamar Chase is playing with Browning. He did well last week with Browning in, so I'm not really too worried about Jamar Chase here. On Pete's side, Bijan, he's just going to keep being Bijan. And then the exciting white lad is going to have to, start taking the targets back from Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnson just so he could start playing to that round 2, round 3 caliber that he was drafted at. And then Romo Dunze, if he has another big day, it looks like he's breaking out and being the number 1 receiver over DJ Moore in Chicago. I think he's going against Trayvon Diggs on Dallas, so it could be a tough matchup, but he might be a little bit washed. So I do like what Rome is going to be doing this week. J.K. Dobbins also has a revenge game against the Chargers with the Broncos. Very divisional matchup. He's going to have a lot of, grit and motivation to play well this week. So that being said, I do not really trust Foos' running backs to really get it going this week, especially Tracy against the Chiefs. Hampton playing against the Broncos is not a favorable matchup you want him to start breaking out in. So with that being said, I do have Pete winning and Pete advancing as the only 3-0 team, and then Foo will go to 1-2. Good weekend ahead. And yeah, you guys stay safe, beer, whatever, and let's have a weekend, boys.